an arrest has been made in connection to a story that we first brought you last week. 18-year-old Anaya Trapp-Miley is now facing charges after allegedly returning a child to her parents' care with severe third-degree burns. Genesis Scott told News 12 that she found her 18-month-old daughter Milan with large blisters and her skin peeling off after leaving her in a friend's care for 3 days. Scott says that when she called that friend, she first claimed that hot soup fell on Milan, but then changed her story multiple times. Tonight, Scott tells News 12 that a weight has been lifted off of her shoulders and that she's glad the suspect is not free and, quote, walking around like she's innocent. Trapp-Miley faces charges of assault and child endangerment. No word yet on a court date.
A community in shock after the owners of an Italian deli in Bethpage were found stabbed to death.
And we're hearing from those who say they knew the victims, calling them a community staple who always tried to help others.
And News 12's Jenna Ray Gartner has the latest.
Police say the owners of A&A Italian Deli, a 62-year-old woman and a 70-year-old man, were found unresponsive with stab wounds around 9 this morning. The woman was pronounced dead at the scene, and the man was taken to the hospital where he died from his injuries. Customers who were inside during the incident describe what they saw.
I just seen the son walking out, and he says that I stabbed my parents, and that was it.
The community is still in shock.
You just wish there would be something that could be done.
Kevin Kelly says the couple donated pizzas to every blood drive he's organized for years.
They just carried it through, and they never refused.
The impact the owners made in the community extended beyond the doors to their deli.
As the days go on, there'll be lots of stories that can be told about this couple.
Robert Murphy says he's been going to the shop since 1994.
If I don't go once a week, twice a week. Police
have still not released the names of the victims, but Murphy says he knew the family well.
I'd call up and get the father, and he says, "Hey, Murph, you're regular?"
Their kids went to school together, and the owner would always sponsor his son's Little League team.
He's a hell of a guy, a hell of a cook, too. People around here supported them. The hardest working people I ever knew.
Police say they arrested a 30-year-old male suspect without incident earlier today, but the investigation is still ongoing. And members of the community tell me they're hoping to continue to support this family and their beloved deli through the loss. In Bethpage, Nassau County, I'm Jenna Ray Gartner, News 12.
Well, a top MTA procurement officer assigned to Metro North Railroad has been fired after an investigation found he had an improper relationship with a sales agent at a firm awarded millions in purchases. That's according to a report released by the Office of the MTA Inspector General. The investigation began in May of last year. The procurement officer used his MTA-issued phone to exchange hundreds of text messages with the sales agent and had lengthy late-night phone calls. During their relationship, the vendor saw a significant increase in awarded bids. That included scrub brushes at nearly 10 times what the railroad previously paid, as well as tow vehicles for $40,000 more than a competitor had bid. The official also never disclosed his relationship with the sales agent and didn't excuse himself from any transactions involving her firm. The railroad has assured the Inspector General it will address any internal control weaknesses that allowed for the misconduct.
The MTA is stepping up its fight against fare evasion with a crackdown on riders using the emergency gate, with more than 100 new doors at stations across the city. News 12's Jody Juliana Powell is in Soundview at a station with the new technology and shows us how it works.
The MTA calls it the superhighway to fare evasion because once the emergency door is open, people pour through without paying, costing the transit system millions. Now the MTA hopes this built-in delay will curb that. When you push the handle from the inside, an alarm sounds for 15 seconds. Only after that countdown does the door unlock. But riders say it doesn't stop the problem.
The fare evasion, they're gonna do it. They're gonna still do it regardless. So what's that stopping what? Nothing.
I saw it myself. Even with the delay, people still came through the door, not paying the fare.
People who wants to, not pay the fare, they're not going to pay it. They're going to find a way out.
Some riders worry that door can be dangerous in a real emergency when every second counts and that door needs to open immediately. And do you think that it's a fire hazard?
I think so. It takes away the whole point of having an emergency exit.
Maybe a shooter and people are trying to escape. They can't. Anything could happen within those 15 seconds.
Riders also say it's a hassle during rush hour.
You get backed up, you know, when they're exiting. People trying to get out there, and then people trying to wait for the 15 seconds for the door to open. It's doing nothing but slowing down everyone's time.
I seen it's like more difficult for people to enter with strollers and bicycles.
But the MTA said fare evasion is down 30% and released the following statement saying, quote, NYC Transit employees can release the gates immediately if necessary. The program was evaluated as safe under New York State building and fire codes. But riders argue that if there's no agent in the booth, that safety measure doesn't help in the moment. And there has to be a better way.
So it's not convenient.
It's not really doing anything but wasting tax dollars.
From Soundview, Jody Juliana Powell, News 12.
Breaking news this Tuesday night out of Stamford, an all-day armed standoff with multiple rounds of gunfire now over. Police believe the suspect took his own life. This was happening at 263 Oaklawn Avenue through the day. It's right across the street from Fairfield Memorial Park. We have team coverage for you tonight on this developing situation. We begin with News 12 Connecticut's John Craven, who was there all day. John, this standoff finally over tonight.
And Kurt, it ended with no police officers injured, which is a miracle in itself, considering the round after round of gunfire they took.
Back up, back up, back up. Shot fire, back up. Get out of here.
That's the moment we dove for cover after gunshots first rang out around noon. It would not be the last time. Throughout the afternoon, more rapid-fire rounds came from a home at 263 Oaklawn Avenue. Stamford police say a Bearcat vehicle has actually taken down the front half of the house, but the barricaded subject is still firing on them. Court records show the home was recently repossessed by Wells Fargo Bank, but it's unclear if that led to the hours-long standoff. This normally quiet neighborhood clearly rattled.
Holy shit. This mother thought he didn't have a gun.
Got to tell you, these were some scary moments for all of us this afternoon. But again, the good news tonight, this standoff, this armed standoff that began with an apparent eviction is now over. Police telling us it appears the suspect took his own life. Of course, all of that gunfire, very scary for neighbors around here. News 12 Connecticut's Justin DeVellis has been talking to them tonight. Justin.
Yeah, John, a little bit of a somber scene here as things have kind of died down. Still a police presence here. We just saw some state police tanks roll down the street, leaving the scene. But like you said, I mean, this was a crazy few hours for the neighbors who live in the area. Normally a quiet neighborhood, like you said. These neighbors had never seen anything like this. Some watching from their windows. They had a front row seat to this kind of a Hollywood movie scene here. Now, we just spoke with one man. His name is Mark Exantis. Now, he lives right across the street. He jogs by this house in question all the time. He said this was a complete shock for everyone. He actually wanted to thank the first responders who are on the scene today to try and keep this situation from getting more out of hand. Like you said, it was a miracle that, you know, no police officers were injured here. Take a listen to what Mr. Exantis had to say just moments ago.
You know, I would have never thought that we would have a standoff in North Stamford, but here we are. But it looks like the whole department and all the other neighboring departments came and supported us. Well, it's tragic because, you know, this is such a quiet neighborhood. There's lots of kids here. So to hear, you know, tons of shots go off, sound like ARs, sound like a tree was falling. But I hope that, you know, it doesn't happen again. I hope nothing like this happens, you know, in any other neighborhood or city. So it's just an unfortunate situation.
Flashbangs, shots fired, just an absolutely crazy scene here today. That's the latest. We'll continue to keep you updated. But, Kurt, that's the latest here in Stamford. I'm Justin DeVellis, News 12 Connecticut.
All right, Justin and John Craven on scene tonight in Stamford. Thank you both.
Well, News 12 has learned that a state probe into South Blooming Grove's so-called secret election found it was purposely moved to keep voters from the polls and that some officials may illegally be in office. Our Blaise Gomez has the shocking details.
This was a systematic, highly organized attempt to keep it a secret.
That's State Senator James Skoufis on the results of his probe into South Blooming Grove's October election. He says a village official admitted to him by phone that
they moved it to October 22nd. Why? Because yeshivas were still closed in the community.
Skoufis chairs the Senate Investigations Committee.
That shut down one possible avenue for opponents within the community to get the word out.
He says other evidence shows the village kept people in the dark by not sharing public meeting minutes for months, moving notices to a newspaper outside of the village and posting notice of a special meeting only an hour before it happened.
No social media posts, no emails, no texts, nothing, nada.
Skoufis says his investigation also found the mayor and 2 trustees are serving illegal 4-year terms because they never filed the proper paperwork with the state.
And that is why I've taken the exceedingly rare step in New York State to request that the Attorney General move through a procedure that would invalidate this election.
He says village leaders claim they didn't post about the election either because their website is old and they have staffing shortages. We have calls out to officials for comment.
We don't have free and fair opportunities to elect our leaders. Nothing else matters.
In South Blooming Grove, Blaise Gomez, News 12.
And we reached out to the Attorney General's office and the village for comment, but have not heard back.
People across the island are mourning the death of a beloved upstate college lacrosse coach who grew up right in Suffolk County. News 12 Long Island's Jonathan Gordon has more on the life and the legacy of Shoreham-Wading River graduate and Siena University men's lacrosse coach Liam Gleason.
Liam Gleason grew up in this community where we are this afternoon, a star lacrosse player at Shoreham-Wading River High School who graduated from there in 2003.
Gleason, a Long Island native, died tragically Wednesday, just days after he suffered a traumatic head injury during a fall at his home in the Capital Region.
He was a young guy, and he obviously touched a lot of people in the area.
The 41-year-old was a 4-year lacrosse player at Shoreham-Wading River, where he helped lead the team to a state championship in 2002. In a news statement this afternoon, Shoreham-Wading River Board of Education Vice President Jim Lockhart wrote, "I had the privilege of playing lacrosse with Liam throughout our childhood and high school, and he always stood out as an exceptionally kind teammate, a dedicated competitor, and a genuinely good person." Tom Rotans coached Shoreham-Wading River lacrosse from 1995 until 2013, including all 4 of Gleason's years on the team.
He was a tremendous and fierce defenseman.
After high school, Gleason went on to play 2 years of lacrosse at Adelphi University before finishing his collegiate career at Albany. In 2018, he took over the Siena Saints lacrosse program and was just named the Eastern College Athletic Conference 2025 Division I Men's Lacrosse Coach of the Year.
He was all about people, helping, caring, encouraging, teaching. He had the full gambit of what it takes to be a great person.
Known for his selflessness in life, Gleason's final act was donating his organs to those in need.
He was a hero in life and a hero in death.
Gleason leaves behind his wife of 12 years, 3 kids, and both of his parents. In Wading River, Suffolk County, Jonathan Gordon, News 12.